Hello everybody, this is Fernando for the latest aliens and UFOs video. It's time to mix another one of these in here while I'm continuing to do your cryptids and monsters video. I wanted to mix this one in here because this one is a highly eerie, creepy, fascinating, just all around mysterious case that occurred there in Argentina back in 2006. I found this on the reddit.com website. They're from a new subreddit called High Strangeness. Once I saw the pictures associated with this encounter, which you'll see more here in a moment, and reading the information linked to it, I just knew I had to share it here because it definitely ties in to one of the more hallmark cases involving fire in the sky. Everyone knows about that case, right? Well, this one is apparently the version linked to Argentina. So I'm going to share everything that's listed here. In fact, the information is so richly detailed that I'm just going to read it exactly as is, and then I'll give my own thoughts and opinions on it afterward. But let's go ahead and let's start that here. This is the case of Sergio Pucheta, which is the fire in the sky in Argentina. So without further ado, let's go ahead and let's start this here. Let me know what you guys and gals think of this very fascinating case afterward. So here's what it says. Argentina, March 2006. A corporal of the La Pampa police claimed to have contacted humanoids with quote-unquote red eyes who transmitted orders to him telepathically after being missing for 18 hours and being searched by dozens of colleagues in a field near the city of General Pico. The non-commissioned officer Sergio Pucheta, before losing radio contact with the base and disappearing, said that there was something strange and was preparing to investigate in a place known as the Cruce de las Cañas, 20 kilometers southeast of General Pico. The strange episode began on Thursday night with that communication to the base. Shortly after the transmission, in which the non-commissioned officer asked for support, when arriving at his position, his colleagues verified that the policeman was no longer there and that his motorcycle, his helmet, the handle used in the communication, his regulation weapon, and part of his uniform had been left at the place. From that moment on, an intense search was initiated by personnel from all police units, which ended up 18 hours later when a rural producer found the policeman some 20 kilometers away from the place where he had left his motorcycle and the other elements. A farmer found the policeman huddled in a ditch and in an appreciable state of shock. As he was aware that a uniformed officer was missing, he immediately reported the incident to the authorities. The policeman was taken to Centeno Hospital, where it was found that beyond the strong emotional shock, he showed no signs of physical violence. According to the information published by the local newspaper, the policeman gave a strange version of what had happened. He assured that he was contacted by two beings of short stature with red eyes who gave him orders without addressing him. He indicated that he tried to flee from the strangers but could not explain how he arrived at the place where he was found. Police officers in charge of investigating the case revealed that Pucheta walked for 4 kilometers along a country road and then his footprints were lost in the grass. It was learned that the non-commissioned officer had so far been of impeccable conduct and had no mental or physical problems. However, it was also reported that a few days ago, he had reported the presence of strange lights in the area. And then there was another article which was a follow-up. This one was dated February 5th, 2008, and it says the following. A corporal of the La Pampa police said he was abducted by aliens and that he lived a distressing experience. He was found lying in the ditch in a fetal position, terrified. He said, "They were giving me orders. They told me not to say anything," said Sergio Pucheta when he was found after having disappeared for 18 hours in General Pico. He said they were small, with red eyes, described the 28-year-old corporal who belongs to the Abigeato Division of Regional Unit 2. He was found terrified in a ditch. The singular episode happened last Wednesday when the policeman was patrolling alone on his motorcycle in a rural area. Something frightened him and he called a dispatcher. He asked for reinforcements because he had seen something quote-unquote strange. After this request for help, the officer was never heard from again. When his colleagues arrived at the scene, they only found his motorcycle, his pistol, which was completely disassembled, his handy, and his cell phone. The next morning, he was found in a ditch. He had been 18 hours without eating or drinking anything. However, he did not suffer from dehydration. And then that's it. That's everything really I could find in terms of articles associated with this encounter, with this abduction of Sergio Pucheta. So let's talk about that here. Creepy stuff, right? Doesn't this immediately just call back to the idea of Fire in the Sky, Travis Walton's abduction case? Here you have a situation in Argentina, though, where you have the policeman Sergio Pucheta, who was out there just, I guess, doing some kind of roundabout base coverage, whatever he was doing in terms of his patrol. And then that's when he described something strange, like something was out there. And he had previously stated that there were these lights that were out there as well. Apparently, it was at a location called Cruce de las Cañas, which is 20 kilometers away from General Pico. But once he was there, it looks like it was done. Like there was nothing else that he could do at that point, because he immediately was confronted by these two strange beings. He told them, he pretty much told everyone else afterwards that they were of short stature, had big red eyes, which would have been absolutely, especially at that time of night, would have been absolutely just the most prominent things possible. And they assumedly talked to him telepathically, because he said that they weren't addressing him, but still he was getting their orders. So the only way you can think of is it was all mental, like it was just basically being transmitted to his brain. And then what happened afterward, he doesn't know. There's really nothing there that was listed in the articles or anywhere else that I could find on the information with that Reddit. It seems like instead those 18 hours or so were gone. But how eerie was that whenever whenever the investigation was done by the other policemen, they found his motorcycle, his helmet, the handle used in communication, his regulation weapon, part of his uniform. Certain factors were just basically left there as is, right there on the spot where he had presumably initially found these two beings. Did he take them off himself? Were they removed by these two beings? Who knows? But presumably, and I'm erring on the side with those commands that he was being told, those orders, they must have told him to drop them, which was kind of eerie too, because remember that part later on when they were telling him not to tell anyone about this encounter. Like they knew that he was going to be found afterwards, but they told him to quote unquote not say anything. And so he didn't, or at least couldn't remember that situation afterward. But by far the most eerie parts continued right after that. So apparently tracks associated with him continued for about 4 kilometers from that location. Can you imagine that? He was walking 4 kilometers just as is out there in the field, out there by himself, presumably being led by these two strange beings. And then there was none. There were no tracks at all. Was it at this point that he was abducted? Was he levitated? Was he taken to another spot? That's what's up in the air, with no pun intended when it comes to this stuff. So we don't know the information linked to that. So one just has to grasp at things. But whatever is there, whatever is left, is frightening. The idea that he was just suddenly taken from that spot, and then that was it. And then 18 hours plus gone. No recollection. Nobody could find him. Nobody could see where he went. Nothing. Everything was just 100% done at that point. He was missing as if he was swallowed from the earth itself. And then lo and behold, 20 kilometers away, that's where they found him, or at least actually a farmer found him. So 4 kilometers with his walking distance, and then 20 kilometers away, that's when he was found by this farmer. That's the reason why I picked initially this story to talk about here, because again, this picture that you're looking at here, this stands out. He was found in a fetal position, just completely shell-shocked. Like he was absolutely in a different world altogether. Again, no pun intended. Like he was just there, but he wasn't. Like he was just completely just mortified. He was broken at that point. You can see the other officers just trying to comfort him, trying to see what's happening, but whatever was occurring, like he was absolutely mentally gone at that point. And it slowly took a little bit here and there for him to start being able to talk to his other fellow policemen and then describe what happened afterward. But these pictures the encounter itself, the missing time, the phenomena associated with abduction, this happening there in Argentina, the strange lights, and then, of course, those two beings with those two red eyes talking telepathically to him, giving him orders, all of that just overall gave a very, very creepy encounter. There he was on that fateful night again back in March 2006, just patrolling as is. Little did he know that his whole world would change afterward. This guy, Sergio Pucheta, would now become another member, an unfortunate one, associated in the world of abductions. Just creepy stuff altogether. But if anybody has any more info, anything else I might have missed, then please post those comments below. I did see there were some subsequent videos. It seems like he's doing interviews here and there after his encounter, even up to more recent times too, with those interviews. So if anyone has more information on those, maybe he was able to get some of that memory regression back into him, let me know. Post it below. Right, everybody. Thanks again as always. Take care.